What is the pick list? Should you use it? And how many goods and services should you select off it? Welcome to Tarlaw's explanation of the pick list. When filing a trademark application, you can file it in up to 45 different classes. Every good and service that you want to cover is classified into one of these 45 different classes. When you've selected which classes are relevant to you, you have two ways of filing in those classes. You can either file by drafting your own specification. That means you write it yourself to describe the goods and services that you're providing. In some cases, this may be beneficial to you if you're providing a unique type of good or service and that particular service is not available or well described on the pick list. So for example, I once represented a doula and doula services were not available on the pick list at that time. But in most cases, the goods and services that you provide should already be listed on the pick list. If they are, then it's beneficial to you to use the pick list for two reasons. Number one, it's cheaper. It's $250 per class to file a trademark application in Australia using the pick list, whereas it's $400 per class if you draft your own specification. The reason for that is it's more expensive for IP Australia to have to cross-reference all the goods and services that you have included in a specification that you've drafted yourself to make sure that they're properly classified. Whereas if you use the pick list, it's less time consuming for them because they know that they are going to be properly classified. The other reason it's beneficial to you is that it reduces the risk of receiving an objection, because if you draft the specification yourself, you're always at risk of receiving an objection saying that some of your goods or services were not properly classified and need to be clarified in order to determine the appropriate classification. So then this objection can hold up your application and can add to the expense if you've engaged an attorney to assist you. If you decide to use the pick list, you will find that there is a degree of redundancy on the pick list. So for example, in class 35, you will see that you can select retail services, online retail services, retail of goods by any means, and many other descriptors that seem very overlapping or redundant. People often ask me, well, what should I do in this case? Do I choose one? Should I choose all of them? Will it make my specification look a bit silly if I'm claiming the same thing in multiple different ways? The answer to that is that in Australia at least, you are not financially penalised for including multiple goods and services in the one class. So for example, if I have 5 services claimed in class 35, or if I have 50 services claimed in class 35, either way the cost is only $250 per that one class 35. So you may as well include more if they are all relevant to you. If you think that there is redundancy, then to a degree, redundancy is actually a good thing, because when you file your trademark application, you may receive objections, such as a Section 41(4) objection, where IP Australia says, well, the mark had some inherent adaptation to distinguish, but it wasn't sufficiently distinctive that it could proceed to registration without provision of some evidence of use. Under Section 41(4), evidence of use after the filing date is allowed. Now, if you use the mark for 15 months between receipt of the exam report and the acceptance deadline, but you still don't think you've got enough evidence of use to overcome that Section 41(4), you have the option of filing a divisional. Now, a divisional application claims the same priority date as the parent application and can carve out some of the goods and services of the parent, but it can't include all of the goods and services of the parent. So if you have redundancy and you need to file a divisional, you're lucky because you can still include all of the relevant goods and services in the divisional and just carve out some of those redundant ones, leaving them in the parent. I hope that makes sense. I know some of these concepts are complicated, but if you need more explanation or if you need any assistance, please reach out. We're here to help. My number is 0477 914-319, and my email is hayley@tarlaw.com.au. That's HAYLEY at tarlaw, TARRLAW.com.au. We look forward to helping you as you grow your business and succeed.